got smoked.
What's up, guys? Metalhead Prime here, and I know it's been a while since you've seen me, at least in a video form. We've got our lives we do all the time, but you guys seen that before. Been busy making shorts, and getting readjusted in my seat would probably help. I feel like I'm laying down on the job here. But no, I've just been super busy. The weather's getting better. I got a ton of stuff I got to do outside. And just everybody wants me in 10 different directions at the same time right now, so a little hard to make a video. This one's taken literally a week to make. So hopefully it's not horrible. But I just wanted to kind of make a video and maybe help the beginners coming into the fish hobby, or the fish keeping hobby rather. A lot of things been going around lately, a lot of do's and don'ts, and I'm not going to make a do and don't video. The only thing I'm going to do is give you my opinion, and you can take my opinion however you want. But the first thing I'd like to say with beginners coming into the hobby, or even more advanced people that are just maybe running into a roadblock right now, just first and foremost, don't give up. You know, this stuff doesn't happen overnight. They say there's bottles that can make it happen overnight, but it doesn't, okay? It doesn't work. But first and foremost, as with anything else, researching is the best way to go. Researching what kind of fish you want to keep, whether it's a goldfish or a tiger barb or cardinal tetras or bettas or large cichlids, anything you want. Just research that fish, you know, before you bring it home. Obviously look around your place, wherever you're going to put the tank. Do I have enough room to put whatever I need for whatever size fish I'm going to keep here, whether it be a goldfish or a gar or an Oscar or whatever. Just do your research first before you go to the store and buy it. Because the worst thing that happens is, and we've all seen this, you go to the pet store, you find the cool silver dollar fish, buy them, you buy the pacu or the iridescent or whatever they have for $2, and you bring it home and everything's fine, and then all of a sudden they get gigantic and they're in a 10-gallon tank. That's from not doing your research. So maybe I can help you avoid that mistake. So if you're seeing this, we're just going over metalhead tips for beginners, or not beginners. You know, maybe just brush up on some of it. I brush up on stuff all the time, so there you go. So behind me, you can see me cleaning my 125. The videos you're going to see is just tank maintenance going on, or just showing off whatever. So hope you enjoy it. All right, so next topic I want to talk about is filtration. Filtration being anything. Hang on the back filter, sponge filter, canister filter, sump filter, under gravel filter, deep substrated plant tanks. I mean, the list goes on. None of it's wrong. None of it. In fact, I have almost all of it. I've got everything ranging from sponge to hang on the back to sumps, canisters, you name it. Homemade canisters or sumps. So literally anything you want to do can be done. Again, it kind of falls in line with researching, but it can be done. So don't let anybody tell you that, you know, a sponge filter sucks, or hang on the backs are a waste of your money and time. Only go with canisters. There's people that are like that, and I'm probably pissing off all those people right now, but that's okay. It's my opinion, and I can say that. I think, at least, I think we're still allowed to do that, right? But anyways, none of it's wrong. Yes, in my opinion, canisters are better, sumps are better, but there are really good hang on the back filters. There are really good sponge filters. Everybody's got them. Definitely Aquarium Co-op. Petsotics has them. KG Tropicals has them. Everybody's got them. So it's up to you. Now, do I recommend putting a sponge filter in with heavy eaters or messy cichlids? No. I don't recommend that at all. I would recommend canister or sump. Even hang on the backs, but they got to be good ones. The Tidal series, I'm a big fan of those. You all know this. Those can handle large cichlids. But, as with any filtration, you've got to be able to maintain it. So, my suggestion when you're placing your filtration, don't make the mistakes that I did. Don't put them where you can't get to them. Trust me. Makes things very hard to get to a 5-gallon canister when you have 2 other tanks in front of it and 1 giant tank next to it. It's tricky, but that just forces you to get creative. So, I mean, you either can or don't. But that was my own stupidity. So, here I am telling you, take it from me, filtration placement is also a key. So, just save yourself some time and trouble there, if you can. If it's unavoidable, then it's unavoidable. But there are ways to facilitate filter maintenance on a canister that's buried. Trust me, there's ways. Especially if you have the FX series like I do. I've got 3 of the FX6s. There is a little drain port on the bottom, right by the motor. And you can simply cheat. You can hook a Python up to it, or the Hydro system, and you can actually drain that out before you even have to pick it up. It's tricky, but you can do it. These are things you learn along the way. But just don't let people stop you. If there's a specific filter you want to go for, just do your diligence. Make sure that that filter is going to handle whatever you're putting it in with. In our puffer tank, we have sponge and hang on the backs for now. I am going to be adding a sump to that. That's going to be a different video. But those do just fine. I'm only adding the sump as a skimmer, kind of like I have on the other 150, which you might see behind me. I'm not sure because I kind of can't see this as I'm recording, and I already forgot which tank I was at. Because it's me, okay? So, there are no wrong answers for filtration, though. So don't let that be a deterrent for you. Okay, now the fun subject of water conditions. I'm either going to get subscribers or lose them off of this one. So, listen. The most important thing you need to make sure you do is make sure your tank completes the nitrogen cycle. You're going to hear so many people say it never completes it, and they're not wrong. It's always wishy-washy, but a good established tank will maintain it. So you always want to give it the time. Now, the time is the factor that no one likes. It can take a long time to fully cycle a tank. Unless you cheat. There's ways to cheat that will reduce the amount of time it takes, but it still won't happen overnight. You cannot cycle a tank overnight. There's people that say you can. They may do it, but for the average person just starting out in the aquarium hobby, they're not heavily substrate or doing a heavy dirt substrate in their tank. They're basically doing gravel and a filter. And you can't put fish in that immediately. You have to work at it a little bit. Now for the aquariums that you are heavily dirt substrating and putting plants in right away, and you're adding nutrients into the water, you're adding iron, you're adding all sorts of stuff, okay, that's a different story. Those plants are established most of the time going into that tank, and usually it's not a very big tank you're doing it to. Yeah, okay, that may work for you, but we're not talking to you. We're talking to the beginner coming into the hobby. It doesn't work like that, okay? I'm not getting into this conversation with yes it will, no it won't. I'm just saying it takes time. But like I said before, you can take cartridges out of hang on the backs that you have on existing tanks, if you do so have existing tanks, or you have a friend that has an existing tank. See if you can borrow a cartridge, a couple days, take it back, maybe get another one, and just kind of flip them, just put them right in the water, let them do their thing. You can also just add a tiny bit of flake food in there and let that go. That will help accelerate the process. There are chemicals, I know, I can't think of the brands, but there are chemicals that you can put in. It's basically live bacteria, that supposedly it'll be ready to rock and roll immediately. You can put fish in. I haven't had that kind of luck, but I have noticed with those that you can establish a tank a little bit faster with it. Seacom Prime, I think. That's not the one I'm thinking of. Anyways, Fritz, there you go. Fritz enzyme, I believe. That one, you can start a tank quicker, but it's not overnight. I mean, I don't care how well you follow the instructions, it's not overnight. There is still some work you have to do. It's not a fire and forget weapon. It's more of a helper. So you just got to make sure of that. TDS meters, I don't use them, but I know people that do, and they can tell you just about any kind of mineral that's in their water, but they also are heavily into plants. I am not so heavy into plants, although a couple tanks I have, you wouldn't believe that, but I am not. I don't check that. I probably should, but I don't. I check for the basics. I make sure my ammonia is not going nuts. I make sure my nitrites aren't going nuts. My pH, I check maybe once a month. Everything I have is suited for the water that I have, if that makes any sense. So basically, I don't have to chase it constantly. I have tanks that are what I call problem childs because they're, let's face it, they're overloaded. That's not the water's fault. That's not the filter's fault. That's the guy talking to you right now's fault. That's why they're problems. But they're going to be rectified. Everybody's okay. It's just, it takes a little bit more work on my behalf. So, but with that being said, the nitrogen cycle takes time. There's no set amount of days it should take. It just, when it's ready, it's ready. So that alone, you need a lot of patience for. Even if you're using methods to help speed it along, it's still going to take time. So just be ready for that. That's the worst part. There's nothing worse than having a tank set up, beautiful setup, you love it, your kids love it, and there's nothing in it. I know it's boring, but you got to give it time. And then the payoff is worth it in the end. You know, I've got 2 tanks that I almost gave up on, and I'm really glad I didn't, because those are 2 of the most beautiful tanks I have, in my opinion. Somebody else may not agree with me on that, but that's my opinion. So there you have it. And while I've got your attention, I'm going to share a couple channels with you guys, especially if you're into, you know, classic cars, just automotive stuff. I want to share these 2 guys' channels with you. They're both great guys. I follow them on TikTok. They follow me on TikTok, even though they do way cooler stuff than I do, in my opinion. But these are 2 awesome guys. Let's see if we can't give their channels a little bit of a bump here on the YouTubes. Especially if you're into classic cars, man. We're working on an old Mopar over here, and we're working on a Chevelle over here all the time, man. Or however I put it. But either way, go check these guys out. Give them a subscription. Tell them the old Metalhead sent you. Who knows? Maybe we can just help them hit some goals here too. So with that being said, guys, I'm done. I'm out of here. So I'll see you guys on the next video, which will probably be me adding a sump to Frankie's tank. So I know I had some questions about sump building, so I think that was June from Only Oscars asking about that. So I'll make that one and maybe tag you in that. So how about that? So all right, guys, until we see you again, I'll catch you in the lives. I'll catch you in the shorts. Probably should have reworded that way. Short videos. And I'll see you on the TikTok. So until then, stay metal.